All right, so looking at your portfolio websites that you created, we're going to start with Brittany's, which is a little bit different because she is taking more of an educational bend on her portfolio. So not necessarily saying, I'm a designer or I'm a videographer, but that like I'm a student and I'm learning all of these things. Scrolling down here, like on the home page, what I'm seeing is, basically placeholder text. Like there's nothing here that's unique to Brittany or, to her site at this point. This is, not even her contact information or anything like that. We've got some pretty stock photography here, which again, although you don't know what you want to do, you might want to personalize this in much greater detail. We've got your email address down here, but obviously it's weird because it's like, here's your email address and a San Francisco contact. So, that's definitely an area that needs updating. As I'm hovering over these areas, they just look like they're images. I don't see that they're linked to anything in particular yet.
I linked them. I guess it didn't work.
Okay, hold on. Let me see. Here we go. All right, yep. It is now. Let's see. We've got a link to your Instagram and to your Facebook and to your Twitter, and then okay, these are also linked down here. I'm going to go ahead and click on one just to test something. And so what I see here is that it is in fact linking me in a new browser window, which is what I was hoping it would do, because you don't want to take people away from your site. You want to open up this other content in another window. And so here we see, just your Instagram feed. And if I pop up these other windows, I'll see your presence on those, various social media platforms. One thing to think about, you guys, is the content that you're sharing in these spaces not only appropriate, but consistent with your brand, right? Appropriate for, for the professionalism of however it is that you want to portray yourself, but also like, is the content that you're sharing there in alignment with your brand, right? So scrolling up, I think that I was on the home page. Yes, and I'm going to go to the About page. So here we just very simply have a few thumbnail images of, just stock stuff, kind of meaningless in terms of its connection to Brittany. And then again, just placeholder text. So really not much here at all, but a space for you to create that. One of the things that I'm wondering about this page is eventually, you will perhaps fill it out with information that fits about like this to balance the layout of the design. Don't really understand these images. I don't know what you might put here, right? Maybe it's, I don't know, honestly, but that's for you to figure out. But I want you to think about what would be a meaningful thing to put here. These are suggestions from, the template that you're using, but again, this has to all fit back with you. Under portfolio, so here, again, no content whatsoever, placeholder text. We've got a thumbnail image and then the title and then a description area. So this might be where you're sharing projects that you've done in class and then reflecting upon the various things that you learned or what your process was with that. One thing to note, Brittany, is that this is a kind of a text-based logo, if you will. Right now it's just a representation of your name, but it's pretty small. Like your page titles are larger than your brand at the top, so that's something you're definitely going to want to alter in terms of the size so that the hierarchy reads, my name's the biggest, page title is the second biggest, project title is the next biggest thing on the page. Over under projects, so again, this is something that's highly visual in terms of these images. You've got the title here, but I would encourage you to ask yourself, just because the template that I chose has portfolio and projects as links here, like how do you differentiate that for yourself? What is the difference between portfolio and projects? Because under your portfolio you list projects, right? So that needs to make sense for you. Just because the template that you've chosen, what I'm seeing here is that you picked a template, you put in your name in the header, and you link some of your social media. But what you have is a placeholder text for everything else that you could possibly put here. So there is, in fact, quite a bit of work like an incredible amount of work that still needs to do, or that still needs to happen here, so that you can start to strategically think about the content that you want to place on the page. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Do you have any questions for me? Because I know that your scenario is slightly different in terms of your approach.
I just wasn't like sure like if I would put the education like under portfolio or projects. That's why I was
But what do you mean you weren't sure about the education?
like, how would I like list it on there? Like if mine's like an educational type of website, like what I'm learning, I would put it under the profile or portfolio or projects.
Okay, so on the home page, like I ask you to think what information am I going to put in here about myself, right? It's probably like for you guys, these sites are about you. So it might make sense that your home page, and this is an area that I see a lot of people struggle with, is they have a home page and about page and they don't know what to put on either one of the pages. So one of them is usually pretty stark in terms of like not a lot of content. But if your site is about you, it makes sense that your home page is your about page, right? So your home page is where there'll be an introduction to you, a little bit of your background, and then maybe even like a summary or a synopsis about like what the intention of this site is. This is an educational portfolio. The projects that I share here are designed to showcase my growth in areas of new media tools, web design, graphic design, video editing, whatever it is that you choose to showcase there, but you've gone ahead and you've laid that intention down and you've given us the context to understand the content that we see on your site. Does that make sense? Okay. Any other questions about your approach?
No.
Okay. So again, you might be merging these, and I don't see the point of actually having two, like a project and a portfolio, if they're the same thing, right? Next up, we have Asta's site. So we've got Keen Eyes. We have navigation here, home, album, documentary, about, and contact. And we have a strong image right here on the front. Talk to me about your logo here, Asta.
The logo, I placed the logo. It's a PNG file, but it comes as a black block as of right now. It is just black block. Like it is this, but I don't know why. I think I'm still trying to figure that out.
Okay, so it's likely that the template that you have doesn't support the PNG file there, maybe, right? So this might be something that you need to consider, that it just, maybe the template doesn't support the transparency on it. I mean, I remember this logo from one of your portfolio classes. So when I saw this black box, I was like, well, I don't really understand that because I've seen this before. So you might have to put that on a solid background instead of the transparency over the image. This typeface, it looks, I don't know if you've selected that specifically or if that's something that's template driven here, but it doesn't seem as fitting with the aesthetic of this.
It came with the theme, this one,
Mm-hmm.
but I think I just spent like a lot of time trying to figure out the logo
Mm-hmm.
because there is a different font that goes with the logo,
Mm-hmm.
and so I didn't change it as of yet.
Okay, but just something to consider. So here, home album, as I hovered over it, like it looks like there's an option for street, and I can't even see if there's anything else.
No,
Right, but I don't know that, right? Because it just goes into the blackness of the picture here. So that's a usability issue, because I'm like, is there more that I'm not seeing, right? This is a beautiful picture. It's giving you some challenges on the front end for this template that you've chosen. I'm going to scroll down on the page. So there's nothing here, right? There's nothing here. There's nothing even that hints at. There's nothing that even hints at the purpose of this site, right? That I even for 1 second know that you're a photographer or that's, even part of what you're trying to showcase here, right? So your homepage, the most important page on your site, because that's where people land, you've not given any information whatsoever. So there's a real opportunity for you here to do more, right? And to bring engaging content that illustrates who you are and why it is that you're creating this site, right? So I'm going to go to the About page really quick and check out. So here you have just a very simple, and we get a totally different visual aesthetic on the page back here, and I can see your social media pops up here, but not on the home page, right? So it's kind of actually really hidden down here. Just like I advised for Brittany, I would recommend you merging these two pages, the home and the about, because you're really doing a disservice to yourself by not having any content on your homepage. And you might be asking, what do I share there?
Yeah.
You share stuff like this. An introduction to you, an introduction to the reason for your site, an introduction to the kind of projects that you want to get involved in, an introduction to the kind of people that you want to collaborate with, an introduction to your passions or your tastes. I mean, there's so much. Like, you're a very multi-layered person. And like this just even starts to scratch at the surface, right? Let's go next to album. So here, is there anything on the album page?
No, I was just working on this page. I was trying to have a thumbnail that links to the columns that list that comes under it, but I'm still working on it.
Okay, so street. So
yeah, I mean, like, say this will be the album,
mhm.
then the first picture is going to be a thumbnail to story of streets. Like, this would be what album would look like, but every photo is one thumbnail, two words, and one album.
On your homepage?
No, in the album page.
Oh.
This is under the stories from the streets,
Mhm.
but it's just going to be like stories or just album, and then thumbnails. That's gonna,
Yeah.
I don't
Like
know if I'm
each
making
picture,
sense.
each picture is gonna lead to more.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That story. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
I like the thought process there.
definitely not completed. It's like,
Yeah, I mean, you've taken, I'm sure, probably a million pictures over the course of your, your love for photography, and I can appreciate that you've chosen, you've curated the experience here as to either some of your favorite or some of them that you think are the most telling. I don't know if I totally follow you with your idea about album and street with the thumbnail, right? Like, are you suggesting that there will be an image as the drop down?
no.
Okay.
Whenever there's the empty page.
Here for album. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's gonna have like thumbnails.
Okay,
thumbnails.
for stories and
Yeah.
then for something else and then
Yes.
okay.
So story from the street is like one album, so
Mhm.
it's gonna have one thumbnail
Mhm.
on the album page.
Got it.
So yeah.
Okay, so what I might suggest for you too is on your home page, have basically what you are trying to do for the album page on the home page. It's a teaser bit of content, an entry point for people to go see more. And then maybe here it says, galleries or something like that. But galleries, the page itself, wouldn't be a page. It's just a folder of other pages, right? So there would be no option for me to click on galleries. It would just be the pages below or like inside that folder, right? But like Yamel was suggesting, it would be a good idea to bring your idea for albums into a section on your homepage. Like, for instance, on my website, one of the things that I do is I bring in like a latest news section, right? Where this is just a summary like of more content to come, but it's just like a bit of teaser content, right? Like, from here, this is an entry point to somewhere else, but I add it to the home page because number one, it's like the most recent, or number two, it's like what I want to share about my work so that I get more work, right? Does that make sense? Okay. Jumping back here under the documentary, so here, just more beautiful pictures. I really enjoy this part of what you have included, right? That's the context to understand what you're sharing and why you're sharing it. You've given a nice title to it and then even kind of like a subtitle. And all of that works really well, and would love to see that on all of the galleries, that you're sharing. I don't know if maybe under maybe it says galleries and then it says street documentary or experimental or whatever. I don't so much understand the distinction between street and documentary. Like I know that they're separate categories, but I don't understand why they are organized differently.
It's more like album has my personal photos and the documentary, whatever. It's like, these are the things that I've done for other people.
Okay, so
So
you are
for me,
assuming that your intention, that we understand that.
Like clients.
But I didn't know that this was like, basically what you've done here is personal and professional, right? But that's not how this reads. Like that's not how it is intuitively interpreted, right? So you might do personal photography, professional photography, or commercial photography, or something like that. Because if that's the distinction in the organization, it needs just to be a little bit clearer. We looked at the About page. I love the information and just like the blurb that you shared there. Under contact, it's really simple, just a form. You know, like your art really lends itself to having a stunning portfolio, right? And so, you know, I really can appreciate the challenge of just picking certain things for it. But, you know, you've got a lot of great work. And so I want to see more of that on there, and I want to see more of your storytelling with it, right? More of that contextualization, because one of the things that you're so good at is like a very rich, providing rich narrative.
What would be nice is just like on your homepage, have a video of who you are.
Or not. I mean, like that's a possibility. I don't know that that's the best thing for us though,
Yeah.
right? Because of like what her medium is. Yeah. Like she could do something probably more impactful with her photography in that nature. But someone like Brandon who does videography might work more for him.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any questions or other insights that you're looking for with this?
I don't have any questions on it right now. Just because I'm like not done with this, I'm like nowhere even like halfway through it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I'll have questions when I'm like almost like
Okay.
okay, getting there. It's like I just published it because I had to publish it.
Okay.
I'm not done.
Okay. Next up, we've got Just Nick. All right, so here we've got logo up here in the corner, which is highly stylized. It's actually like got kind of like a retro 80s vibe going on with it, with the prismatic, and then like this looks like MTV font over here. What I will say is that it's a little difficult to read.
Yeah, it's very much a work in progress, and actually I just kind of had an idea of something completely different.
Well, and that's generally how these things happen, is that like especially when you're doing stuff for yourself, your ideas and the iterations come pretty rapidly. So we've got a welcome here. I'm going to click on that.
The nav stuff is irrelevant at the moment.
The nav is what?
All the nav stuff's like all, it's just one page right now.
It's just one page. Okay.
I don't know how to get the navigation thing to work with the index features yet.
Okay. So Nick is into videography, particularly like event stuff and recap stuff. So we've got kind of this background image, which is cool because it starts to display that. And then you've got this, right? Which is, it says who you are, and I can view your portfolio. But the challenge of this is you've got gray text over dark event footage. And then also the day 2 recap part of things. Like then you have text on top of text. So anytime like this right here, you need to basically edit this in such a way that it does not have text in it at all, right? This should just be video footage without any on-screen text so that this can be clearly read. And you might ghost this a little bit, such as it is under here, so that your text on top reflects with more contrast. I'm going to scroll down. So here we've got your portfolio. So I'm wondering, I can view your portfolio. And does it just...
Sometimes it scrolls there,
Okay, so that's... So I hit view portfolio and it took me to a portfolio page. But if I'm back on the home page and I scroll down to portfolio and I'm... So what this is telling me, Nick, is that you have a portfolio page, but you also have an index page that has a portfolio section.
But it's that's the important, I don't know why I said like that. With the view portfolio, there's no specific link that I put it up to. So I have to do that for like the free one consistently. But if you can have some like little one that's moved out into it quickly,
Because so here's the here's the question about that is like, if this is going to be a one-page design, why would you really say view portfolio when it's just the next thing in the design, right? Like that's like, if all it's going to do is like drop me like 6 inches on the page, doesn't really make sense to have that button, right? It might be more like, instead of view portfolio, it might say videographer, explore my work below, or something like that, right? The functionality of this button doesn't make sense just to drop you to here on the one-page design. So here we have several of your pieces, which is cool. I like that they have titles. I would bring the title over here as well, not just displayed on the YouTube, and then I would give these custom thumbnails is the other thing. Because it's video and video always reflects better at larger applications, I might make these larger, like drag out the scalability of that section so that your contextual information is in a smaller window and the video is showing larger. Bio, just a short little bit. I enjoy just the way that you've streamlined this. You know, you guys are just starting on these portfolios, but like there's so much more that needs to be added to these. I'm looking at them and I'm thinking they all look pretty bleak, right? I'm actually kind of sad about what you turned in. Not a lot of content. Not a lot has been done here. Not a lot of effort has been put into this assignment at all, right? Scrolling down, we just get a little bit of information on your resume and where we can connect you here. I know that this, I have characterized this as something that you will continue to build on, but you know, what I'm seeing here is that you guys have a lot of work ahead of you, like a lot of work. Nick, this is it's a well organized and pretty functional as it is. The one-page design works all right, but you definitely need to remove that navigation if this is the only page, right? Your resume, it reads kind of awkward with.
My formatting isn't working at all, but I figured out how to fix it earlier.
Okay.
What website are you using?
And then just a simple contact form down here. Again, like you might want to tell people like why would they want to contact you, or why would you want people to contact you? You know, like I don't really want random people just contacting me on the website, and I don't want people who want videography work really contacting me. So I target it. I say, is this what you need? Do you need, you know, like is this what you're looking for? Because if it is, like I encourage you to contact me, right? Just to make it really clear as to what it is that you're looking to engage in, right? Just a little bit, again, of that contextual information to help people understand, like, who you are, what you're looking to do, and, like, how they should get in touch if there's something meaningful you guys can or should do together. Next up, we have Michael's site. So here we have, we've got your name up here in the top, and you know, up here in the header, there should be just a little bit bigger, Michael, right? Like, because it's just like, given the hierarchy of the elements on the page, your name is just a little tiny, right?
Yeah.
And resume and home is the information we have. Like, because of the placement of this play button, unless I hovered over it, I wouldn't have known it was a video, right? Until that red thing, because it kind of just looks like a decal on your shirt in that picture, right? Like, so maybe like play video or some sort of extra instruction, or maybe that this is a custom thumbnail or something there. I wasn't clear immediately that this was a video until I hovered over it. And I assume that you shared this here because it's something you want people to play.
Yeah, it's
And
the
watch.
on my video.
Yeah, right? And so like you share it because you want to give somebody an introduction, right? But I didn't know it was a video, so you need to make that clearer. Again, same sort of feedback as with Nick is that like this is a tiny video. And video is better seen at larger applications. Just a small quote here. My project, so I've got a couple of them that you shared. These look like, it looks like a screenshot of the website. Is that
Yeah,
correct?
I still need to figure out how I can put the real link
Okay,
to the
so
website.
that would be probably like you probably put something in here like a slideshow module or some sort of like you plug in, I don't know exactly what they call it in Wix, right? But like you added that element that says I want to show images here, right? And so they're going to treat it like a photo gallery versus I want to add one image and then a chunk of text underneath it, which is the screenshot of the site and then the text that says African Insider's website. I designed this, blah, 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 blah. Let me tell you what I did so that you know what my skills are. View full site. Hit the link, opens in a new browser window.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Right? Does that make sense? Okay. And one of the things also looking at this screenshot is this is not your brand for Africa,
The logo?
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? So this is a totally separate conversation, but your African Insiders is not on brand.
Yeah, I need to figure out how to put the logo like exactly at that space on the other website, which is WordPress.
Well, even here and even up here, it's not on brand, right? So that's something you're going to need to explore. Scrolling down, just an awesome picture of you here. You're looking stylish and fly. A little bit of just a tiny little short blurb about who you are, but it's like buried so far down here, right? And maybe that's because you think that maybe someone will have played this, but like don't make those assumptions, right? Because if I hadn't hovered over that, I would have never even played it, right? I'm seeing some like a lot of different styles, right? So we've got marbling and then like a very wide spectrum of a color scheme. Some interesting kind of what looks kind of like stock photography, but also I'm seeing your own pictures looping back there behind it because I saw that one of you posing. Different font, choices here. I encourage you to really be thinking about your brand, Michael, and how it is that you want to present yourself consistently on this portfolio website. Under resume, so here, what we're seeing is what?
Screenshot.
Yeah. Why are we seeing that?
Yeah, because I, like you said, I need to figure out the design. It's because of the deadline, because it's too long to do this. You can spend like 5 hours, 6 hours just for a website. So I really need the design. So I really use this like a draft. Like this is how things are almost gonna look like at the end. So I know, and I said that in my question when I responding to the question.
Yeah.
That I know it's a screenshot, but I need to figure out.
But like something that you just said troubled me a little bit, and that's that like these things take a long time. Like, you guys, this is not, you won't learn new skills overnight. Just because you like watched a Linda or you like, have made a website in the past for something when someone has given you content, like you're not going to all of a sudden know it, and you're certainly not going to all of a sudden be good at it, right? What does it take? Time. And
dedication,
practice, iteration,
Yeah.
time, tinkering, like incorporating feedback, right? What was one of the biggest pieces of feedback I gave people on their Real Deal Taco sites?
Yeah,
Tech-
about the screenshot.
No,
Right.
it was
But like text as an image was one of them, right? And so like this could have been an area where you're like, you know what? I am going to take the time, and maybe I can't make it visually look exactly how I want it to look, but I know why this is wrong. I know why putting a screenshot in here is wrong. So is it better for me to do something that I know is wrong, or is it something better for me to take the text, put it on the page, which I know is right, and then say, I'll learn how to do a better design in Portfolio 3. Right? Because this is just a shortcut, right?
Yeah.
I understand what you're saying is it's like conceptually you're trying to show like this is what's going to go here and this is what's going to go there. But my job with you guys is to push you, right? You're all being lazy.
And I am.
Every single one of you is being lazy with this, at least for what I've seen so far. Like, these are things you're making for yourself. You deserve better. Like, you deserve better with it, right?
Yeah, that's right.
All right. But again, it's always supposed to be a start. But if all I did is come back to you and say, good job, guys, let's see what you can do in Portfolio 3, how much more would you push it in Portfolio 3? Right? Hardly anything. Because this isn't good job. It's a start, right? This is a start. But you all, as media professionals and creatives, deserve more for yourself, right? Next up, Brandon. So this was your blog site, and this was your media specialist site. So here I get your name and kind of a tagline of what it is that you do. Nice. It seems like we've got a consistent color thing going on here, like to kind of match your car. Was that purposeful?
Yeah. Is there not a space between these?
No. So you'll need to go in there, add a little space. I see that you've put kind of like this colored background behind it so that it reads up against that image. One of the things that I would encourage you to do, though, is to give that more of a breathing room space, right? So that it's not hugging.
It looks bigger on the laptop, but it looks smaller.
Yeah, so that it's just not hovering. Like, give those elements like room to breathe and to stand on their own. Scrolling down, we've got your social media where we can connect with you. Those are still going out to Wix, so whatever makes sense for your line of work or how you want people to connect with you or how you want to be seen on all these other social media platforms. You don't have to connect other social media, but if it's smart for you, do it. But again, is it appropriate and is it in alignment with what it is that you want to do? So we've got your services here. All right, so this is a bio. These aren't services, right? So like this is just maybe a little bit about me. So just characterize that in a different way. Down here, these might be services I can provide, or services for hire, something down there. Photography, film, design. So we've got your projects, and these just look like these are not yours. So this is just this is photography, right? But photos that aren't yours. So what is going to go here for you eventually?
I wasn't sure because I have a project, that projects tab, and I think that's supposed to be under that. So I wasn't like, I think that is actually still part of the services tab. So I just put projects there because I thought maybe I'd just put that there and change my projects tab to something else.
Okay, so all this is still placeholder content, correct?
Yeah.
So just a simple contact form, and none of this is linked out to anything that's yours. This is not yours. This is placeholder text. To me, this kind of, did you pick this template because it had cars on it?
No, I just picked it because
It's a nice template, but like I just, like thinking.
Work with because it was like similar to what I had in my head.
Like the one page like design aspect of this is nice, right? Because it kind of ushers you through the experience, right? But thinking about what your work is, which is video, and what this is really featuring is photography. You do photography as well, but be thinking about, is this the best way? Like, even if I stuffed my videos into this format, is that the best way to view it? Right? It's not. So like, again, you have to personalize this for your own intent and like, what is the content that I have to show? If it's video, this would be the best way. If it's photography like Asta, like this might be better, suited for that type of a thing. And again, one of the things is like, if you're going to a template in Wix and you're saying, okay, I'm going to choose this, because this is a portfolio template, generic. You're not generic. You are a unique individual with unique needs. So this generic one that puts in the 5 pages of about services, portfolio projects, and contact, that might not fit you. So you don't need to have a projects page and a portfolio page if that's not what your unique need is for the site. Because honestly, what's the difference between projects and portfolio for you at this point? If you have a clear answer for that, then go for it. But that's the other thing too about these sites, is that it has to make sense for you, right? So make decisions about what makes sense for your own unique needs of sharing your work. Is there anything else that you want to point out about this that I'm missing as I'm kind of hovering and
Just, do you have any advice about, like, I liked the services thing that I did, but I also, I don't want, like, a bio in the services. Like, would you suggest maybe, like, not having a services tab and just putting, like, that kind of stuff in the hire me?
yeah, I mean like that, I mean that would work. Hire me for, you know, share that and then move that up. Like if what you want is to get work, like hire me shouldn't be the last thing down there where you're telling people what it is that you do,
Yeah.
right? Like to me, if you're sharing this site because you want to get more work, that information would go above like the about even.
So under hire me, would that be a good place where I could, like, put both the bio and the?
I would think
How
the
would you
bio is
separate
something
them?
like, why can't the bio be up here?
Just place it, like, right on the fold there, like right under the.
I know you love cars, but is that like the most appropriate image?
Maybe you like
I
maybe
don't- I
use the recording with the camera and then cars in the background.
What do you mean?
Like you with a vlogging camera.
So
you
instead
can
of like
send someone
portrait
a picture.
of Brandon, right? Brandon, not that kind of thing. Brandon filming a car,
Oh, okay, yeah,
Yeah.
like Brandon at work,
yeah, yeah.
right? Like that would be
Yeah.
more relevant than just the car
I might
itself.
have a picture already.
Yeah, something like that. Or if you don't, stage it. Look at all these amazing photographers in the room. Like you have so many resources available. And I'm very happy to hear about how you're helping Michael with his shots, and that Michael, you're reaching out and, you know, and asking, you know, to get some professional shots. Utilize each other and your strengths in that way, because like nowhere else in life are you going to have such a melting pot of talent just like within arm's reach. Did that help?
Mhm.
Okay. Let's take a look next at Garrett's site. All right, so here I want to give you a high five for go ahead and getting your custom domain. That's a big step, and it's one that you know, really increases your professionalism. I'm excited to kind of dig in. Here on the home page, we just have a little bit of info, your name, kind of like a, it's not really a tagline, but it's a kind of your service areas or what it is that you do. I would ask, why is there a line break here? Like why does social media strategist wrap there? Seems kind of arbitrary. The same way, you know, the alignment is weird here. Then looking at this right now, I don't know that this is a link. There's nothing about this that really tells me it's a link. The placement on the page doesn't, to me, shout navigation, enter this site, check out more. Vision, you know, I don't really know how to interpret that at this point. Like to me, it just looks like letters on the screen. There's not a clear path. When I click on it, it takes me to what looks more traditional in terms of a website. To me, what I see here, Garrett, is it almost looks like a landing page or like a parking page that you maybe just bought this website or you just bought this domain and you haven't created a site yet, but you want to get your name up there, and like this is like a waiting for something to happen page. But you in fact have a site, which is back here, right? And I don't understand why we go through that first thing to get here, right? So, and then the other thing about it is I'm at Garrett Wayne Clark. And on the first page, it says Garrett Wayne Clark. And then it says Galactic Visuals. Do you see what I'm pointing out?
Yeah.
What?
Like, I see, like, what you mean, like, as far as, like, there are two different things, but like the reason why I personally put it up there as collective visual is because although it's my photography company, I still want to be able to just highlight that initial part. So having galactic visuals up there, and of course obviously it's Garrett Wayne Clark. I want people to know that's I'm actually me. That's my actual thing. That's my niche. I get the whole business as far as with the separate entity, but I specifically chose it only because when people know my name, this is who I am. This is the vision. This is where I'm getting at. So that's the reason why I kind of specifically did that with the homepage. So that way, as soon as you start oh, Garrett Wayne Clark, then it's you see what I did. I don't know what the alignment. The alignment was kind of weird. I tried fiddling with it, but I guess I gotta fix it a little bit better. But I kind of wanted to where as soon as you type in my name, oh bam, this is what I do. This is kind of my entity itself, and then bam, this is my actual work.
So what I want for you to notice here is how much explaining you just did about something that you just take for granted that I'm going to know, right? That I'm going to understand that was your intent. You have just a split second with someone when they come to your site for them to make a split judgment about what's going on here. And my split judgment is that, oh, these two things are different. I don't see how they're related, right? I don't spend a lot of time thinking, what did Garrett mean here? That needs to be immediately recognizable, right? The other thing that's a disconnect for me, Garrett, is that I get kind of the gallery wall symbolism of the white and the minimalist and the black and everything. It's clean. And I haven't poked around further, so I might have to take this back as I move on. But your work is especially with the galactic visuals, is so intense in its vibrancy and uniqueness, and it's arresting sometimes, right? Even when I think about that image that you showed from the shoot, it's so rad, man. It's really neat, and I don't see that here. I don't see that as I don't see this site as an extension of who I know you to be or your work. Kind of reading through here, I have a quote, and then I have something that looks like it's in first person. I want to be the change. I want to be able to change the world through the use of my artwork. And then my name is, you do a nice little introduction here. So when you say before on the other page that you want people to know that Garrett Wayne Clark is Galactic Visuals, you're doing it right here, right? You're saying it. When you say, I want to embrace my true talent, you don't have to put that in quotes because this is your voice and you're saying it here. So if it's written in first person, the quotes are implied, right? Because it's your voice saying it. So you don't need to quote yourself down here, right? I would spend a little more time exploring your own introduction of Galactic Visuals. My name is Garrett Wayne Clark, and Galactic Visuals is how I'm going to change the world. And then just tell me, right? And that is a great introduction, right? And I would love to know that answer. And that would be a great intro to, your homepage or on your about page, something like that. Because I still haven't, you told me on this homepage that you are a content creator, a photojournalist, and a social media strategist. And when I go, I'm already having to click once, and I still really haven't seen anything to me that says Garrett at all, right? That gives me even a hint of the personality and the pizzazz that you exude, right? So over to constellations. It's coming soon. I guess that's an area that you intend to showcase what?
The products in which I captured this past weekend.
Okay. So you'll need to contextualize that you weren't just the photographer, but that there was this whole thing. You guys have been planning this huge thing, and there was crazy amount of work and production and assistance and all of this stuff. I want that story to be evident in there as well. Why you did it, what you're intending to show, because like your unique perspective, Garrett, is really what's going to, like, that's really what's going to make you stand out in a sea of photographers, in a sea of designers, in a sea of content creators, is your thought process and your ability to communicate that. Because guess what? We all know how to use Photoshop. Guess what? We all can take pictures. Some of them are better than others, but what is going to make your stuff unique and stand out? It's that. It's what's happening up here and your ability to communicate that to other people. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So like, should I like, so just like quote unquote explain like what I'll be like showcasing within that segment, or should I like just?
Yeah. Right? So like you're sharing something, but give me the story to understand what it is that I'm seeing.
Okay.
Right?
That makes sense.
Under blog, looks like there's a place for content someday.
Yeah, I tried putting this past blog for this assignment on there, but it wouldn't go through.
So what I would also encourage you about, like, does it make sense to, like, Galactic Visuals is like your professional company for content creation. Does it make sense to have a blog about your Full Sail assignment? No. This doesn't fit. This isn't the place for it. Isn't it like, it's not a net where you're going to put everything you've ever done. It's choosing. This is what I want to put out there because this is more of what I want to do. Right? This is the kind of audience that I'm attracting. Like the audience for your school blog is not the same audience for Galactic Visuals. Shop. So here there's a place, contact, a form. Dude, there's nothing on here that says you yet. Like there's just, I need the visual content, right? Like I'm looking at this stuff, you guys, and I'm just thinking like, oh, you know, thanks for picking a template over the weekend. Glad you were able to schedule that in as an assignment. Like, there's so much more that needs to happen here. And we've got Yamel's site. So here we have like a logo up here that has a film icon. It's really small and it's like it's kind of hard to see or interpret exactly, you know, what it is that really means. And to me, there's a little bit of a disconnect between having the logo here and your name here, right? So like, be thinking about with your brand how you can tie these things together, right? And present both in terms of the words, but also the visuals, what it is that, you know, it is that you want to do.
I couldn't take off that shadow under the.
You could.
So I was like, oh, just put a little figure. It won't come off for some reason. Like I guess it comes with some, but I have to change the whole image in the background. But I want to take one kind of like what I told Brandon. I want someone to take pictures of me,
Yeah.
interviewing.
Yeah. I mean, like I can see you doing your vlog and someone's like taking a picture of the whole production that's happening. If you don't have this stuff, guys, make it. Like you all have the equipment and like the resources and all of these things, and it's just something as simple as the next time you go do that, invite one of your photographer friends and say, can you get me some behind the scenes?
Yeah.
It's just as easy as that. It's not like you don't even have to plan an entirely separate shoot. It's just the next time you do it, be thinking ahead of time, like I could really use some pictures of me doing what I do on my website. You've got home, portfolio, videos, clients, and about me. Undertaking stories that impact the world for a lasting transformation. Take a look. So that's going to take me to your portfolio. Here, what I'm seeing is travel photography. Is this template material? Like, what am I taking a look at here?
That is going to be like, I'm going to replace that with what I'm going to really work on, which is kind of like what I want people to like look at, you know, the really good work that I'm going to showcase.
So these are going to be like the cherry-picked items, right?
The best work that I've done.
Okay.
I don't have like something really professional yet.
Okay. So this is just photography from the template.
Yeah.
But this area is somewhere you intend to showcase the best of the best. Okay, so we've got hello there, and then just a little bit about you and your journey in media communications. I would Like, what's up with that?
Yeah, I'm gonna change this whole entire page. Like,
Okay.
yeah, the colors and everything, it came like that.
Mhm.
But if I change the colors, I have to change the logo color.
Mhm.
And, like, I have to do it all over.
Mhm.
So this is kind of like, I'm trying to see what I like, what I don't like,
Mhm.
and I'm probably gonna take off that white one on the contact page
Uh-huh.
and then just replace it with that one. that I
With this
added.
one?
I added that, yeah.
It's nice. I mean, it's a little off in terms of the color scheme with this olive, right?
Yeah,
Like
it's a
there's
horrible
just
color.
kind of some like a little more of a visual conflict down there.
Yeah, and all the social media pages, like
Mhm.
they're not linked because the computer that I was using is,
Mhm.
yeah, I didn't want to put my social media.
Yeah, so it looks, like you have those places that you can share that social media, and for what you do, I think your social media and what you include there will be important because
Yeah.
of your vlogging and your YouTube and all of that as well.
Yeah, and on Wix, what I'm gonna do is like, you can link it, and then all your pictures from Instagram come
Mm-hmm.
in the bottom.
Yep. Mm-hmm. So here, this is what? What am I looking at?
So these are 3 projects that I already planned, and it's just a matter of, this is like, there's something there, but these are projects that I already like planned out, and it's kind of like already work that we're gonna do next month, and yeah.
All right, so these are projects that are waiting to happen.
Yes.
So do you notice that I had to say, tell me about what these are? Like, what do you mean here? That means that there's not enough information on this page for me to understand without asking you questions.
Yeah, there's buttons that I can enter, like read more or find out more. But I want to do kind of like what you did, where you put the title and then the description, and then but then if you click on the picture, it goes to that.
Yeah, so that there will be more here, but there has to be enough to entice me to click it. I have to want to learn more, and in order to want to learn more, I have to know a little bit about it to start with. You know what I'm saying? It's like a teaser bit of content, an excerpt that says, just a few sentences about, maybe this much text that says, what is the dollar menu? And like, oh, that sounds kind of cool. So let me click and dig deeper into that area. So that's your portfolio. Under videos, I would ask, what is the difference between portfolio and videos?
Probably because, like you can have vlogs,
Mm-hmm.
and you can have like really cool vlogs about the city of Orlando,
Mm-hmm.
cool things to do, and yet you could have professional items such as the ones that were in the menu page that you would want a person that wants to hire you to look at. If that's confusing, maybe I can title it something else.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like it should be separated. Like, I don't think they should look at stuff like this. But then people like.
But I don't have the context to understand the difference.
Yeah. Okay.
Like, because in your portfolio, you're sharing projects, and a video is kind of like a project, but you don't tell me like anything about the videos or why they're different or what you're sharing or how they're different than maybe videos or things that you're sharing in the other area. So maybe this is like, here I'm showcasing projects that I edited or that I was, I did this or that or the other. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, yeah, it really does.
I mean, like, for you, there's a different consideration because you're like, I'm on-screen talent, or like, I'm the, I'm the person doing everything for this, versus in some cases, maybe you were just the editor, or maybe you were just the camera person. And that needs to be clear when you're like posting these videos in your, on your site.
Mm-hmm.
Like the difference, the same way that for Asta, personal and professional, right?
Yeah, this template had like projects and portfolio.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like I thought like, okay, if I put those two, it's gonna be weird.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, okay, I'll change it to videos because people that aren't really trying to hire me are
Mhm.
gonna look at that.
Mm-hmm.
But then if it's confusing, then I'd rather not even put that, or just link my YouTube and promote it on my about page or something.
But because it again goes to this idea of curation, that like, I understand that as you're beginning to start out, you might not have this full body of content that like, you're just like, oh, well, I have all these amazing things that I want to pull and, that make sense for my portfolio, right? Like maybe as you're just starting out, you're like, I have a bunch of mismatched things that, that showcase some of my skills. I understand that, but like your job is to kind of weave it together in a way that makes sense for somebody who has no idea about you, right? Like, think about, like, if a stranger comes to this, what will they know? What can they infer? What is intuitive about what it is that you've shared? Like, even with this, okay, I've got your channel, watch now, right? I don't have a, you know,
Yeah,
I
you
don't
know
have,
what's going on.
I don't even know why this was created, what you did on it, you know. Why are you sharing this with me? Like, why do you want me to see this? I want you guys to think about that for everything you put on your portfolio. Why are you showing that? Is it because, like, you were a good editor? Was it because you were good on-screen talent? Was it because you were the producer of this piece? Like, all of that needs to be clear, not just, I mean, like, I really feel not just to your site visitor, but to you. Like, be clear as to, like, why you are choosing this to represent yourself and your work product, right? Like, by showing this, am I attracting more of this type of work? And is that what I want? Like, these are questions for you to ask yourself. Under clients, so here, right now, we just have some photos that look like they're linking to blog posts.
Yeah, no, there's something wrong with that because I have like a current person. It's like this pet shop that wants a video.
Mm-hmm.
Like they want me to cover an experience, like a day volunteering for a pet shop.
Is it the pet shop on Mills or on Colonial?
It's the Pet Rescue by Judy.
Oh, pet, yeah, okay, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
in love with him. So I tried to put her like logo on there
Mhm.
and kind of, you know, talk about that. But when I'm editing it, it takes me to a gallery, the Wix gallery.
Yeah, because it looks like it's yeah, this is a page that's just meant for someone like Asta. This is for a photo gallery, right? It's not for you, again, and this is similar to what Michael's problem was, which was he like dragged in like a widget or a module for a slideshow. Right here, this is a blogging module a photo blogging module that you're trying to edit just because you want to add an image for your client. But why not start out with a blank page, drag in image and text box? Image of the logo and then explanation of your client.
I wanted it to be more like, like kind of like how it's laid out. So if you advertise it through one little button. So you see the picture of her shop, and then you click on it, and it goes to.
What's interesting, like if I'm very busy and I go to your client's page and I see the logo of Pets by Judy, like what's interesting enough about that to me just to want to go on and explore without any additional information? Maybe I'm just thinking that you want me to know that like you're connected with Judy, right? Because if it's just the logo, I don't know that maybe you've created a video for her.
Or maybe have a picture. Yeah, like one thing also is that I don't really like how empty it is already. Like I would like to drag more information in there, but it's just a matter of like, you know, drafting because I really like how it's laid out like that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe just, you know, put it under every single.
I mean, I like that layout too. I use
Yeah.
something very similar on my own site, right?
Yeah,
So
it's really nice. I just have to delete that and then make a whole new thing, which I don't even know how to do. So I'm gonna do that because I really enjoyed that, and then I'm just gonna like drag those squares down
mm-hmm,
and then write about it and maybe take a picture of what I'm doing and not the logo,
mm-hmm.
and then you know something like that.
You guys need to do some thinking and some planning and then come back to your sites when you have an idea about what you want to do. Because one of the things I'm seeing with a lot of your sites is just, you're like, let me pick this template, okay, and then you change your own ideas about what would be best for yourself because it's already built on a template, right? Like, and you're like, oh, well, I'll just use what's here and I'll just change the name to the thing that I wanted it to be. Except it doesn't work because that's not how it was designed, right? How many of you created a wireframe or a sitemap for yourself beforehand? All right. This is a start. but it's barely a start. You have a lot of work to do here. And I want to see revisions by Wednesday. Because we're doing presentations with Jacob, right? You were going to showcase your Real Deal Taco sites. You're showcasing this site now. Right? So just get it to the place at this point where you are willing to show other people. Right? It doesn't have to be finished. It doesn't have to be perfect. But please, spend a little bit of time with this.
So we're revising these instead of the Real Deal Tacos one?
It's my real deal coming.
I'd prefer
I-
to do this, honestly. I can
Well,
figure out
no,
my own.
no, I'm sorry. You're still revising your Real Deal Taco sites.
Okay,
Yeah.
but we're presenting
Well, we're
these,
presenting these instead, correct?
or both.
I
Or
already
the
did
other
my
one.
revision. That's the thing.
What?
I already did the revision for real deal taco.
Which is great because it's an assignment and you're all going to have to do that.
So we're still gonna.
You
That's
still have to
okay.
revise
Yes.
it, just, you're not gonna showcase it.
You know what? I'll
anymore.
just make the decision on the day. I'll make the decision on the day about which one you're going to present. And maybe some of you will present Real Deal and maybe some of you will present your portfolio sites depending upon what it is that I see. Right? Like what happened here? Like what happened here?
A lot of
A lot of stuff.
What?
deleting stuff after stuff
Like
didn't look good.
Friday
and then-
blend,
Like-
and then like Jacob's class, everything basically.
My
It's-
footwork,
I'm just being honest, I'm still, like, I don't know how to explain it, like, I still don't know what I'm doing with this.
Mm-hmm.
That's my excuse, I still don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Squarespace just kind of started bullying me. It's like all my stuff got deleted, and then I did it again, and then it was undeleted. So I didn't remember that order.
I had an idea, like generally, like how I want it, like for the website, but like I guess I like thought of it too much instead of like actually putting it all in. I was more visualizing rather than actually executing it, I guess.
Do you have homework assignment due tonight?
Quite a bit actually.
We have
Not tonight.
the revision tomorrow and then the next day.
We don't have any more to do today, but tomorrow.
Then we have revision.
So pretty much both websites have to be done by the same time.
All right. This is what I'm going to do. Tuesday or Wednesday for presentations, you are still presenting Real Deal Tacos, no matter what. Real Deal Tacos is being presented at your site for the presentation. I will give you until Wednesday to make a revision for this for your grade. You won't have to present this, but if you want to revise it before I input a grade for you in FSO for this assignment, you have until Wednesday class time to do it. Okay? You have all next month to work on this. So I don't want you to feel overwhelmed with more work right here at the end, because still, like, what's left this month, I want you to be able to do it and enjoy it, right? For whatever's still happening in your graphic design class, for whatever we still have in this class, and then for whatever you're working on, like with your shoot or with house cup or whatever it is you want to get involved in, I want you guys to be able to do that. But I also want to give you the opportunity to make a revision, a meaningful revision to what you submitted, because right now, like, you would not get very good grades on this assignment. 15% of your assignment or your class grade. So it's out there, the opportunity, if you want to take advantage of it. Wednesday at class time, I'll be looking at these again. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Wednesday is also the presentation day.
Correct. Wednesday, we're here at 3 o'clock in this classroom. You're going to be presenting something from Jacob's class, whatever it is that you've been working on for your brands. You're also going to be presenting your Real Deal Taco site. You don't have to present this site. You don't even have to revise it if you don't want to. Right? You don't have to. I'm not going to call you out. I'm not going to say, like, let's bring it up on the screen and look at it. It's just, there for you. I will look again on Wednesday, and then I'll input your grades into FSO, okay? So it's there if you want to do it, if you need to do it, right? But it's just an opportunity, it's not an obligation. Does that make sense?
If we redo it, do we send the link to you on the feedback, or you just?
Feedback will be fine. I mean, the thing is, it's the same link.
Yeah,
If it's a
that's
different
what I'm
link, send me, whatever you change it to. You could make small changes to your sites that would make really, really big differences, right? Again, think about what is it that I need for me to tell my story, or to tell, to showcase my work, or to be true to where I am right now.
I think even for Wednesday, a good idea is to listen to our part, or even to multiple part of the recording, and then work at the same time. It's gonna be easy.
Yeah, I mean, you'll have that feedback. I don't mean to come down on you guys, but I also am disappointed, right? And I want to give you the opportunity to do better now that you know better, right? So that's going to be it for class today. You have even more time, right? So go forth with your day. I will get this archive processed and posted before I even leave campus, so that it will be available to you in the class messaging thread. This is a hard month, I know it is. There's a lot of stuff going on, and I want you to be able to enjoy it or take advantage of it. But also remember, you're in school. And you have assignments. And in order to get better, you have to do what?
Practice.
And just reiterate, just keep pushing, take feedback, incorporate feedback. You guys know how to get in touch with me if you have any questions, but other than that, I look forward to seeing you on Wednesday at 3 o'clock in this room, and I'm really excited to see what you've been working on for your graphic design class. You will be presenting Real Deal Tacos for this one. All right, you guys have a good day.